Hi, it's Delilah Claire, your Miss Charlotte's Teen 2025. In my last video, I did a Q&A, and one of the questions I was asked was, what is your makeup routine? So I figured for today's video, I would show you guys my makeup routine as well as all of the products that I use. So before we start this video, I will have all of the products listed below in the description in case you guys want to go buy and try some of the products out. So if you want to see how to do this makeup look right here, keep watching and follow along. So the first product that I use is the La Roche-Posay face wash, and I use this before I do any sort of makeup as well as to take my makeup off. And I am currently using the mini size because my local Target was out of the full size, but hopefully I can get the full size one too. I really love this product because I have skin that is very sensitive, but it's also prone to breaking out, so it really gets in there to get all of the dirt and grime off, but also works really well for people who have sensitive skin. So I just recently started using SPF, and this is the SPF that I use. It's just the Coppertone Complete SPF 30. So for foundations, I use the Makeup by Mario in the shade 18W, and I really love this foundation. I have been using it for a really long time, and obviously it's not my skin tone, but when I have a spray tan it is, so whenever it's not my skin tone, I will just use the Kat Von D foundation in the shade Medium 27, and I'll just do about 3 pumps of this with a pump of the Makeup by Mario, and then I'll just blend it together on the back of my hand like this. Okay, so now it's on my face, and I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush to blend it out. And for my concealer, I use the Natasha Denona concealer in the shade N9. And I really love this concealer because it's very blendable, and it really just like applies like butter. And then I'll just put it underneath my eyes and my chin and like right here on my forehead in sort of like a triangle shape. And then I just use a beauty blender to blend it out, and like look at that. That blended out with just like 3 little pats, and it blends out so well. I love it. It really is like butter. And then for my contour, I will use the NYX Professional Makeup Wonder Stick in the shade Rich. And what I really like about this is how dark it is. So it really only takes a little bit, and it creates really good shadows when you're contouring. And then on the other end of it is this gold highlighter that I will use for eyeshadow. Then while that contour just sits and soaks in, I like to go ahead and go in and use my bronzer. And the bronzer I use is from the Morphe palette in the shade Totally Tan 8. I love this palette. I use this palette for eyeshadow, for blush, for contour, literally anything. And I'm using the lightest shade right here, which is just the lightest shade in the palette. And I'm just using this random brush that I got from TJ Maxx, but it's a very like dense brush, so it's very good for patting in. And I'll put it on my cheekbones and up here on my forehead and then down here. And I always make sure to pull up when I do my bronzer. Very important because it will just make your cheekbones and your face look a lot more lifted. And then to blend out my nose contour, I will just use a separate beauty blender that I used from doing my concealer. And my tip for blending out contour is really just to be very patient. It usually takes me like 5 to 7 minutes to blend out my nose contour, but once you do it and it is fully blended out, once the finished product is done, so worth it. And the reason it is so important to be patient when you're blending your nose contour is because you don't want it to just all smudge together and become one giant contour blob. You want it all to be little intricate steps to the shape that you want to get your nose to. And I always like to bring it up to my eyebrow because it'll make the contour work a lot better. So after I take my very sweet time blending out my nose contour, I will go ahead and do my eyeshadow. And this eyeshadow palette no longer has a label on it, but I know exactly what palette it is. It is the LA Colors Peach Fizz eyeshadow palette. And I got it from my sister. She gave me a bag of makeup to go through, and this was one of the items that I picked. But I'll use this shade right here. I don't think they don't have any names on them, but it's just this one in the top corner. And I'll take it and I'll just go along right here, and then I'll bring it up into my eyebrow. And then for the second step of the eyeshadow, I will go back to using the Morphe Totally Tan palette, and I'll again use the lightest shade of bronzer, and I'll just take a dab of it. And I'll also put it on the back of my hand one time, just dab it because it can be a little dark. And then I don't go on the edge of my eye, but I'll go a little bit in from the edge of my eye, and I'll draw a little circle like this, and then I'll bring it in. And I'll draw a little circle, and I'll bring it in. And I don't know if you can tell, but this eye is more lifted than this eye. And it also just adds a bunch of shadows. And I'll just keep doing the circle and pulling it in until it's blended. I'm going to go do the other eye off camera, and I'll see you back for the next step. Okay, I forgot to show you guys what brush I use, but I just used, again, a random brush that I got in a pack from TJ Maxx, but it's like kind of angled, and it's very fluffy, so it's really great for blending, especially because it's angled. For the next step, I will use the Benefit Cookie Highlighter for my highlighter, and I've had this for 2 years, and look how much, like, this has lasted me 2 years. I love it so much. It's such a good highlighter. And then for the blush, I will use the Fluffy Eye Blender, and I'll take a pretty good amount, and I'll put it right here on my nose, right here. And then if you remember, I did the 2 little lines of contour right beside my nose. So I'll go in the middle of where I put those 2 lines, and I'll do just a line up and down. The next thing I will do is fill my eyebrows in, and I like to use the Benefit Give Me Brow Volumizing Pencil in the shade 3. I believe that's the shade. There's a 3 on it, so I'm pretty sure that's the shade, but I could be wrong, but it'll also just be linked in the description. So you can just go click on it and buy it online. But I will just go in like this. And I don't really like mine to be super sharp, especially with this one, because it can tend to be a little bit dark. So I have it sort of shaped at this angle. So it's nothing on this side and then just on this side. So it's flat, and then I'll go in like this, and I'll fill my brows in. Okay, I just filled in both eyebrows, and I'm going to show you guys how I shape them. And it is going to be a little bit harder to shape them today because I really just need to get my eyebrows done, but I have not had time to go. So it's going to take a little bit more than usual to shape them, but I'll just brush up like this, and then I'll brush diagonal. And then there'll be these little hairs right here, and I'll just brush down. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is my blush, and I'll go back to the Totally Tan Morphe palette. It's a great palette. It's a staple. I mean, you can use it for so many things, but there's 2 shades of blushes here, and I like to use the lighter shade, this sort of corally shade, and I'm just using a brush that I got from a pack from TJ Maxx. I really don't know what kind of brush it is, but it's, again, angled. I really like the angled brushes, and it's very fluffy, but it's dense. It's almost very similar to the contour brush, but you never want to use your contour brush for blush. I learned that the hard way. It mixes, doesn't look very well, but I'll just tap this like 3 times. It doesn't take much. And then again, I'll do the blush going upwards because it makes your face look so much more lifted. Okay, so next I will go ahead and do my lashes, and I like to use 2 mascaras. I use the Can't Stop Staring mascara from Gwen Stefani and the Lash Princess, the Essence Lash Princess mascara, and I use the green one. I've tried a lot of the different colors, but the green one's my favorite. And then I always use my lash curler, and this is gonna look a little bit creepy when I put my eyelashes in it, but I like to put it up, and then I will like kind of pulse it a few times, and then I'll hold it, and I'll look down, and if you look down, it pulls your eyelashes up because they're in the curler, and it makes it curl a lot better. And I just do that, and I'll take it out, and my lashes curled. And then I'll use the Gwen Stefani mascara first because it's really good for curling your lashes, and I'll just usually go on the tips of my lashes like this with it, focusing really just on that length and that curl with this mascara. And also look at that, like it's such a good mascara for curling. And I like to blink when I put this one on because it helps with that sort of curl. And without letting the Gwen Stefani mascara dry, I will go in with the Lash Princess. And this one is, I love this mascara because it's super dark and it lengthens your eyelashes, so it gives you sort of that false eyelash look. And before I do my bottom mascara, I will set my face, and I use the One Size Translucent Setting Powder, and I'll use I don't know what these are called. I forgot what they're called. But I use one of these to use about this much. I'll go underneath my eye and blend it out, and I'll bring it down too. And this just really sets the makeup in, and it makes sure that your eyes don't crease, because Sometimes, for me personally, when I'm wearing the concealer, my eyes will crease. I also feel like it helps with my eye bags. Like, look, this is the one that has it, this is the one that doesn't. It makes a super big difference. I'll also put the setting powder on my chin. I try to put it everywhere where I get oily, and it will help mask the oiliness so you don't look super shiny. And then I'll put it up here. So I went ahead and did my bottom lash for this eye off camera, and I'm going to show you guys how I do it on this side on camera. So I'll just go back in again with the Lash Princess mascara, and it only takes a little bit, but I will go like this underneath, and it really helps if you like widen your eyes, because I feel like it helps me not get mascara on my concealer. For my lip product, it's constantly changing. I will usually stay inside of the lines of Kylie because her stuff stays on so well, but I'm always changing, and you will forever see me with a new lip product on 24/7. But for today, I think I'm going to be using the Rimmel London Lasting Finish Lip Liner in the shade Brownie Pie, and I'll have it linked in the description, along with the Kylie Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Poise K or 100. I've never lined my lips on camera, so we're gonna see how this goes. And this is the finished product. I love this makeup so much. I've been doing the same routine for probably the last like 2 years. It's just a great makeup routine, and it's very staple. It's great for going out every day, or for me, making multiple pageant appearances. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.